everyone, and welcome to another Let's Talk session. And our guest today is a young lady that I truly admire. I met her through Smile. I invited her as a guest on the show, and she's a woman who is passionate about financial literacy. God knows I need it. And she's also a financial educator and entrepreneur. And she's also the founder of Thriving Dollars. And one of the most important thing about Thriving Dollars is that it's a great resource for you to actually get your finances on track. She's also the actual founder of the Money Meetup group, which I've attended, where persons can come and really speak about entrepreneurship, meeting other entrepreneurs, as well as speaking about finances without any shame. So I'm speaking about none other than Kenishia May. Hi, welcome to Let's Talk.
Hi, I love that intro. That was so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, yeah, it's coming from the heart because I admire anybody who literally knows how to break free from financial slavery. Okay? that is
right. Thank you.
It is something that I think we all need to master. And as I said, I wish that we had that as a sort of a subject in school. Like, yeah, we know how to do math, but really when it comes down to management of money, we struggle a bit. Just before we get into our conversation, however, could you just give our viewers a bit of background in terms of what made you decide to say, okay, I need to really get my finances on track?
Yeah, so I wasn't one of those who figured it out too early. I mean, I always had a good foundation because I taught myself pretty early, like when I was a child, how to save, because my parents wouldn't save, that they'd always put the coins in. So I just kind of saw them doing it and I assumed that that's what you did. So I just kind of started to do it as well. And so that's really the foundation of me learning how to save. And so when I started that saving thing that I was doing when I got my first job, I eventually had gotten myself to, I saved $10,000 and I had like $8 worth of interest. So I had $10,008 in the account, and then my mom, she needed 10 grand. And I had to zero the account pretty much. And I had to give her that 10 grand. And then a few months after, I went back up and I started to save even more than the 1,000 because I was like, I was saving at one point, I think more than half of my salary, right? Mm-hmm. Just between different institutions, just more than half of it.
And that's the rule. That's the rule, right? That's the financial.
Yeah, that's really the whole. If you know nothing else about finance, this is it. Spend less than you earn. Like that is the whole magic. The whole magic. That's it, right? And so that created the strain and. I just constantly felt burdened, like I always had to be money. And so we had a really big fight once where she wanted some money. I was so tired of it. I kept zeroing my accounts. For me, it was a decision that, this money is such a source of contention. So what I'm going to do is to get rid of money, right? A whole lot of money. And so I just decided that since I can't have the money in my account, since I can't spend the money on myself, I might as well not be saving the money because I'm making all these sacrifices, but I don't get the benefits of it. Right. And so I just decided to blow money, and money that it took me a few years to accumulate, I blew through it within, I think, less than 6 months, and so I was broke, like broke. And then I started. The thing about spending, right? Once you get into the cycle of spending, you don't stop. So when the cash ran out, I started to use my credit card. And then very shortly after that, I left my job. And then, so I had to be using the credit card now for like living, like basically be like literally keep the lights on, eat some food. Like that was it. Yeah. But I never had to pay back said credit card. So obviously that was accumulating, and so that put me in, that was the start of my journey with debt, and it was a really rough journey, lasted a few years, and just I remember having a breaking point where I just called my mentor, like, I need you to teach me how to be rich because I'm struggling, I'm broke, I'm poor, this is not working. right? And so he gave me this flash drive with 10 million audiobooks on it, and I'm like, homework? Like, I'm trying to be rich. You're giving me homework?
I know.
Oh, that stressed me out.
Yeah. But is
That
it
stressed me.
something you mentioned? While everyone wants to have a life coach, a business mentor, should we strive to have someone who is a mentor in terms of our finances?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing, right? Finance tends to be so emotional, and you need that third party that puts distance between the emotion. In a relationship, you don't see certain things, but then your friends will be picking up on it, right? You're too close, you're too emotionally entangled, right? And so you need to have some objective, right? And that's really what financial coaches, financial planners, financial advisors, that's really what we do, right? Is really just to show you that, all right, look, sometimes I have clients who come to me and they have a specific goal, and I look at it, I look at their overall finances, and I'm like, we can triple this. This isn't a real goal. And they're like, no, I don't think so. And then within 2-3 months, they're like, we tripled it. Maybe since I've not tripled it, let me actually try to double that, right? You don't see these things sometimes. That I have other people who they come to me and this is the issue that they're having. This is the issue. But what this is this, right? And so when we have that conversation and I break it down, sometimes I don't even meet with them. It's just a phone call. And I'm like, as they're talking, I'm seeing the solution in my mind. And I'm like, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to call these people. You're going to do this, do this, do this. They're like, oh, wow. Oh, that actually makes sense. But you don't see these things if you're so close to the
Yeah,
problem.
that's true. It's funny in terms of your mindset with money. The pandemic, I think, for me, really it showed up so many issues,
Mm-hmm.
financial issues for
Mm-hmm.
persons, because especially those who are living from paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because they were expecting that tomorrow will be fine, and then in one day the world kind of stopped. What advice would you give to persons? Because I know a lot of people are using the term pivoting, but in terms of persons who have hit rock bottom financially, what would be your recommendations for them?
Yeah, I remember this period in my life where I was going through some issues, and my dad wrote me a card and he said, when you hit rock bottom, the only way out is up, right? And that kind of always stuck with me over the years. And so if you're one of the people who have hit rock bottom, financial rock bottom in the COVID pandemic, who is ask for help, right? We're not above it. No one is above asking for help. As difficult as it can be, you need to understand that this is, first of all, we have no idea really how long this is going to persist. And so we're trying to get back to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah,
And you have to try to get back to your normal as well, right? Now, if you hit financial rock bottom, if you're in debt, no, if you have backed up payments, what you need to do is ask for help. So you can be, what I recommend for everybody who has maybe had to stop payments, go to your creditors, have a conversation with them, right? They'll be understanding, because this is something that we are all experiencing. Like, nobody is exempt from the pandemic. And so have the conversation with them, like, all right, look, so based on me missing these payments, I've interest and fees, different penalties, to negotiate with move some of those penalties, right? That's a starting point. Try to get rid of some of that extra, those extra fees and fines and all of these things. And then once you're there, if you realize that you're not managing, you need to be asking for more help, right? So everybody, granted, is facing this. Is like the time for people to maybe get more creative. So if you have a friend who they're not as affected financially as you are, I'm not going to tell you to ask them for money, but what I'm going to do is to tell you to maybe reach out to your friend, coworker, anybody who you know might be trading financially a little bit better than you are, and ask them what they need and provide those services for them, right? And use that as a way for you to generate some sort of income. People need help, right? People need help. If you can offer that help, they will be willing to pay you for it, right? This is not the time to just go around and beg everybody. Me not endorse it, because not endorse it. But I have a friend, for example, she recently launched a project. I know she's been going through some stuff financially. She recently launched a project. No, I'm like, all right, I know you're having financially trying times. I'm fine. And so I'm like, let me just sponsor your thing, right? So I did a little sponsorship for her. So that's revenue for her project. It's gotten her off the ground, right? And that start has gotten her way more revenue since, right? And so that's what I'm saying. So do something, and then have people come in and help you from there. That's really important. That's how you start to go back up.
I know for me, I've been reading a lot more since the downturn, because now I work remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the pandemic hit, I had savings. I started saving.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized, okay, it's not going to last until a certain time. But I also use that downtime to change my mindset about money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You had mentioned about the fact that your mentor gave you books.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to actually gain an understanding about money management and finances?
And listen, there's no way for me to tell you how important that is. I mean, whatever I'd say, it would be a gross understatement. But like you said, you've been taking the time to increase your knowledge, and that's crucial, right? Because when he gave me that audio drive, at first I was like, homework. I was annoyed. I ignored it for months. I won't even lie to you. I was incredibly annoyed. I'm like, you're rich. I'm trying to ask you to teach me how to be rich, and you're giving me homework.
Yeah.
But I remember one Sunday I was home and I was defeated, man. I was so broke. I think I was down to my last 2 meals. And I said, all right, whew, something has got to give. And so because I felt so defeated, I felt like I needed words of inspiration. And so I started to go through that flash drive to just find something to cling to. And I listened to, the second program I listened to was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I remember when he said, you need to make money work for you. And I had a moment of straight up confusion, because at this point I was like 21, 22. And I had never heard that phrase before, because I don't come from a wealthy family. Like, I have no level of wealth in my family, right? This is the first level of it. And so when he said that, I was so confused, and I called my mentor and I asked him what it meant, and he started to break down investments for me. And I remember just being annoyed, because I'm like, I spent years in school. At that point, I think I was probably still in school. And I had never heard any of this ever before, but you want to teach me trigonometry, Pythagoras theorem, like,
yeah.
So that bit, just that one phrase literally changed my entire life, because then I started to delve deeper, because I'm like, wait, what? Because I was really good at saving, but I knew nothing about investing. So whatever I saved was whatever I had. I didn't know how to multiply that. And so when he started to break things down for me and I delved into it more, I started to blog, and that blog eventually transitioned into what's now Thriving Dollars. But let me tell you something, just that one, sometimes it takes a line to spark something in you.
Yeah.
And once you get that spark of knowledge, it literally sets everything off. So this is the time for you to make sure that you're increasing your knowledge. And I'm going to share with you, so you can share with your audience. I have a Google Drive folder of some of the audiobooks from my mentor, some that I've picked up over the years from by myself. So I'm going to share that link with you. It's a Google Drive. It has bunches of audiobooks, ebooks, everything. And so you can share that, because let me tell you something, those things that I learned over the years I can't even express how different my life is now because of that one line in Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I can't say, I just have to say, can I get an amen? Because knowledge is power, but the application of it is even more.
Absolutely.
And for us culturally, I think, it's just that small sector of people who actually do acquire that knowledge, and that's create wealth for themselves. Because we have a concept about money here on the island. It's like, it comes, it goes. We're not thinking long term. I mean, even those who even hit the jackpot, the lottery, if you don't have a plan for that money, once you have it, you get it, it's gone. So I think it's really important that we acquire as much knowledge as. I think what sparked it for me though, before I even came to the money meetup, what I had hit rock bottom because I had surgery. And my credit, because I was in and out of doctors' offices because of what I had experienced. I had fibroids, and it was getting really bad. And maxed the credit card between the prescriptions. I was anemic, so they had to literally pump iron in me in order for me to do the surgery. But by the time I got through all of that, I was done. Like, there was no money left. And when they say health is wealth, it's no joke. And I remember just sitting on the couch during recovery, and I just started watching the business news. I don't normally watch business. I'm like, business news, but, and then I said, okay, all right. I kind of understand, and they talk about the stock market, advancing, stocks declining. I said, all right, let me see about stocks now. Let me try and understand about stocks. And then it starts opening another door and another door until you realize, but wait, this is information that can help me. And it's really right until you actually reach that point where you see those bills coming up and that notice, that credit card, that notice, I think that red that keep coming to your mail, and you go in. I've also was introduced to Hill Harper's The Wealth Cure, and watching one of his blogs. Kenishia, you're afraid? Have you read that book? The Wealth Cure by Hill Harper? It's like,
I read that. I read.
Yeah, but he was sharing an experience with a female that said anytime her bills came, she would never look at it. She would just put them down. And I guess because there is this sort of shame that comes with you being in a very bad financial shape. But just for the viewers, how do you break through that shame, that embarrassment?
Yeah, I find that's one of the things that in terms of finances, that tends to be one of the things that people struggle with a lot. And I've been there too, so I know exactly what that experience looks like. Because when you're supposed to be, it's a part of social media culture. I'm not gonna blame all of this on social media, but it's a part of it. I remember having a moment in debt up to follicle them like whoosh. And I remember just looking around at all of my friends on Instagram, and everybody was doing okay, but I was struggling, right? Like wanting a market of the last 3-day type of struggle, right? And I just could not understand it. And I remember feeling envy, and I also remember feeling shame, because I'm like, I am the person who is good at me. I've learned how to save really early. How am I here? I had money. How am I here? And so in order for me to overcome that shame, one of the things I had to start doing was to just really honest. Prior to that point, I wasn't being honest with a lot of people. I barely was being honest with myself, right? And I remember what kind of sparked it for me was I had visited my cousin. Old backstory, my mentor paid me $5,000 to leave the house because he was so scared that I'd commit suicide or something because of how low I was. And my cousin, and we were just kind of got all prettied up, dolled up, went to go see her. And we were talking like, I am barely alive. You get me? And that was the first time I said, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I tell her about the death and the, just be really honest with her about it. And that kind of just changed everything for me because that was the first moment of transparency I think I ever had with anybody regarding my situation. Right? And once that honesty, once I was able to get through that first layer of the shame, once I kind of took the veil off everything, I was able to just start working on it. Like, it wasn't like I no longer was doing things like going out with my friends, knowing I had no money, putting it on the credit card just to be there. Yeah. I was just like, oh no, I actually can't afford that. I just kind of got really honest. I'm like, oh no.
There's nothing wrong
and
with
even though I still do it, like my friends will.
There's nothing
but that's
wrong
the
with
thing.
Saying, I can't afford it. There's no sin.
It takes a while to get to the point where you can say it. Because if you look around and everybody is doing good and you're not, you think something is wrong with you. Not they through something and hiding it. You problem. Yeah. Right? And so you have to get to the point where once that you have to get to that just have that more as well as the journal, really intimate thoughts that I don't share with people, but I'll write them down. And I've reread a couple of them and I was like, oh, this was a dark time. But I'm happy to reread it sometimes because I can see the growth and the progress that I've made since, right? But the first layer of getting out of that shame is just honesty. Honesty with yourself and honesty with the people around you. Like, oh, I actually can't do that. I can't. And you don't have to go and be like, oh, I'm broke, and don't try to make people feel guilty for doing things that you can't afford to do either. That's something that I don't like. Like, oh, why would you spend that? Because you can't spend. You think that they shouldn't. Exactly. We're not doing that. We're not. Yeah. Don't. We're not doing that. But what you should be doing is just to say, you know what? I'm just financially challenged right now, and I just can't go up to that. And that's it. Or it's not a priority, and that's it. That's a conversation. Yeah. Really, thanks for sharing those gems with us today for Let's Talk. I hope that the viewers who watch this episode will be able to break free from the financial shackles that are literally holding them down. I know we're in a very difficult time right now because of this pandemic, but better is coming. You just have to be prepared. Put things in place so then you can get yourself out of that financial. Yeah. Let me show you. I want to have I decided to do a testimony. Let's talk testimony session. So can you see this? So this is a pouch. I came back to Jamaica 2011. Had to start all over. Wasn't working. And I started doing odd jobs here and there. But then I started just putting a lot of coins in this pouch. I found it 2 weeks ago because my mom was doing some cleaning. And she said, what's in this bag? What's in this pouch? And she opened it and it was a lot of money. I'm like, so people, if you didn't get anything from this session, start putting those coins. I started saying count them, but I haven't done it years. Yeah. I haven't done it yet. Years. I've been preaching that for years. And you know what? I'll say this too. I run a case study every year. So I run a case study every year, and I was about to show. Well, let me show you. So
Yeah.
this is a Tory Burch tote. I recently just got this.
Right.
But here's the story behind the tote, right? It's not just it's Tory Burch. It's not that. So
Right.
every year, for the entire calendar year, I put all my coins and all my $50 bills in a single stock. So I pick one stock. I save all that spare loose change where you use and buy banana chips and bag juice and cheese chicks all about the place.
Yep.
Put all of that into the stock market. And every year, I take it out after it has multiplied and I buy myself an item. So the purpose of buying the item is that I can see that, oh, this was 2019's case study.
Exactly.
And then the case study. And I have exactly. So it's just literally that I feel like it's not something, you don't get things that you need. It's something that you enjoy. Right?
Yeah.
So a little minor luxury, a little not an essential, just a little niceness, right? So that's literally what I've been doing for like the past 2-3 years, these case studies with spare change and $50 bills.
Awesome sauce. I love it. All right, guys, this is where we end our Let's Talk session for today. Please note that I'll be sharing Kenishia's information, her website, email address, social media handles, and yes, we'll also be sharing those books that can get you on the right financial path. Don't worry, things are going to get better. You just have to change your mindset, and once you change your mindset, you'll change your life. So thanks again for watching, Kenishia. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're definitely going to have a part 2 for this, because there's so many things around finances that a lot of people don't know. So definitely want to give persons the information to make informed decisions. So thanks again, everyone. Until next time, and remember to subscribe. Bye, everyone.
Subscribe to her channel, please.